Hi guys, and welcome to the Aging Games, where I talk about all things related to health, anti-aging, and beauty, and especially for ladies over 50. So today I wanted to talk about a very important organ, and that's our thyroid. And I also wanted to discuss some of the things that can destroy our thyroid, and some of these things you may not be aware of at all. The majority of thyroid diseases today are actually caused by Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition. And going back 40, 50 years, this was not a very common condition at all. In fact, I remember reading Dr. Jack Kruse's book, and he was saying that he was in medical school in the 80s, I believe, and they were telling him that Hashimoto's is so rare, you'd be lucky to see one in your whole practice. And I mean, if you look at thyroid disease today, most of them are caused by this autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, which involves your body attacking its own thyroid. So let's look at some of the conditions of hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, and perhaps you'd be recognizing some of these symptoms, or you already know you've been diagnosed that you're suffering from these conditions. So some of the symptoms include weight gain, thinning hair, brain fog, a goiter, dry skin, menstrual changes, eyebrow thinning, especially at the outer end of your eyebrows, constipation, bloating, indigestion, and the list can go on and on. And there's also another thing that is not very commonly talked about, and I've done a lot of research on this. There's this thing called mucin, and I know it's caused a lot of issues for me with my Hashimoto's, and I even started a Facebook group about this a few years back. I haven't really been attending to it for a while, but I found so much interesting information. So mucin is this jelly-like substance that actually is full of toxins, and it's produced in the bodies of people suffering from Hashimoto's. And this tends to deposit in all different parts of the body, so especially in the face, so it causes puffiness in the face, in the eyes, so it makes your eyes just look heavy and saggy. It can also deposit on the upper arms and the upper body, on the torso, and it's a really difficult thing to get rid of. So even when you're losing weight and exercising and trying to do all the right things, this puffiness remains, and you can really see it on people that don't have the Hashimoto's under control. So just to give you a little bit of a recap about mucin, mucin is a toxic buildup deposited on the face, shoulder, arms, and sometimes all over the body, giving a puffy, fatty appearance that is resistant to any type of weight loss. And like I said, I've dealt with this for so many years, and it's a very difficult condition to treat. I've done many different things for this, like fascia blasting, and the right kind of diet can also have an effect, but it's really about getting rid of the toxins in the body. But anyway, I'll do a separate video about this because there's so much to say. But what I wanted to talk about in this video are what are some of the things that can really be detrimental to your thyroid health, and you may be doing these things, eating these things, ingesting these things without even realizing it. So the first thing that I wanted to mention is soy, because it's probably the thing that caused the most damage to my thyroid. I was a vegetarian for a very long time, and I was eating a lot of soy products instead of meat, and I was drinking soya milk all day long, and I'm sure that this had a huge effect to me being diagnosed with Hashimoto's 10 years ago now. So soy is a goitrogen. It also has the ability, especially if you do not get enough iodine, to block your body's absorption of thyroid hormone. So soy can cause all kinds of different issues, and it's in so many foods that you may not even be realizing that you're eating it or drinking it. So make sure that you're looking at the ingredients of everything that you're eating, and if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, then you may want to look at alternatives to soy. Next thing I wanted to mention are cruciferous vegetables, just sticking to the food to the beginning of this video. And cruciferous vegetables contain a chemical that slows your thyroid gland. Some of the popular goitrogenic vegetables can be spinach, kale, broccoli, cabbage, bok choy, Brussels sprouts. Now, these vegetables can also block thyroid hormones and contribute to all kinds of thyroid conditions. What you can do, if you continue to eat these vegetables, is if you steam them and you cook them, then you do get rid of some of these effects, and it will make them a little bit healthier and better for you. I tend to avoid them completely because I just don't think they're working for me. They also cause a lot of gas and indigestion and digestive issues. issues. I just found that despite their health benefits or claimed health benefits, they just weren't good for my body. Not just for my thyroid, but also for my whole digestive system. If they do agree with you, then make sure you're not having these vegetables raw, especially if you're trying to take care of your thyroid. The next thing that could be causing thyroid issues for you is gluten. And I know a lot of people are gluten intolerant, and there are a lot of gluten-free products on the market now, but gluten can cause a lot of issues. Gluten is a protein that is found in wheat. There appears to be strong evidence to support a link between celiac disease, which is a gluten allergy, and autoimmune thyroid disorders. You can be tested for gluten allergy or intolerance to determine whether you have this problem. Some practitioners are now recommending that anyone with autoimmune Hashimoto's disease eliminates gluten completely. So I try to avoid gluten as much as possible. I eat pretty much ketogenic diet, mostly meat, very few vegetables, high fat. So this is not an issue for me. It was in the past. And like I said, when I was a vegetarian, I was eating a lot of soy, a lot of vegetables, especially a lot of broccoli, cauliflower, things like that, and also gluten. Now you have to be careful, because if you're going gluten-free and you're choosing these gluten-free products, you have to look at the ingredients, because a lot of it is just all kinds of different chemicals. So you're just trading one product for something with other things that will also cause issues. But make sure you look at what you're eating, and make sure you look at the gluten in your diet. And if you do suffer from Hashimoto's, then gluten might be something you would look into eliminating. Next, we'll be talking about some chemicals, mainly chlorine and fluoride, both of which can be found in water, but also in, for example, fluoride is in your toothpaste, and chlorine can also be used in products such as white flour to bleach the flour. Now, the problem with these chemicals is that chlorine and fluoride are enzyme inhibitors and displace iodine from the thyroid gland. So iodine is really important for thyroid health. So anything that competes for iodine will cause issues with your thyroid in the long term. When it comes to your thyroid, just like when it comes to every other organ and your body as a whole, light and the type of light that you're exposed to is really important. So your thyroid, just like the rest of your body, needs direct sunlight in order to function properly. So instead, what's happening, we are covering up our thyroid with clothes when we're outside, and also with sunscreen. And when we're inside, it is chronically exposed to blue light. Why is blue light so detrimental to our thyroid? Well, first of all, our thyroid is our organ that is closest to the skin surface. It's only a couple of millimeters down, and whenever you're on your devices, you're on your phone, your iPad, or your computer, it's constantly being exposed to blue light. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the cases for Hashimoto's have increased exponentially throughout the world in the past decades, and I wonder how much of this has to do with blue light. And also, women are much more prone to develop Hashimoto's, and if you think about it, women have this area much more exposed. For example, men who are at work in a professional capacity will have a suit and tie and collars, so they will be protecting their thyroid a lot more than we are. So what can you do to protect your thyroid from blue light? You can wear scarves, you can make sure you have blue blockers on your devices, you can make sure that you expose your thyroid to red light, either through red light therapy or directly to the sun, which is really important. Vitamin D is really important for your thyroid, so again, you need to be in the sun to make vitamin D. Somehow, no matter what kind of video I do, stress always comes up as an issue, and stress can also be very detrimental to your thyroid function, especially if you're exposed to chronic stress. So what happens when your body's producing too much cortisol, you're gonna have issues with your thyroid. Chronic stress can slow down your body's metabolism, and too much cortisol, stress hormone, can suppress the release of thyroid-stimulating hormone. Also makes you more vulnerable to autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's because of increased inflammation. So stress, inflammation, those issues keep coming up over and over when we're talking about our health and talking about different issues. Inflammation plays a huge role in Hashimoto's or any type of autoimmune conditions. So it's really important to manage stress and to manage inflammation and to lower inflammation in the body in any way possible. And Here's a little bonus tip for you guys, something that you may not know could be interfering with your thyroid function, and that's coffee. I just did a whole video about coffee and why it's detrimental to your health, so please do check that out if you like. And let's talk about coffee for a minute. If you're taking thyroid medication, coffee contains an acid that can block the absorption of your medication. So you really need to be careful if you are on medication. Wait at least an hour after your medication to drink the coffee, or better yet, quit drinking coffee or switch to decaf. The caffeine in coffee also affects the production of thyroid stimulating hormone. So just to summarize everything up, guys, I will do a separate video on how to improve the function of your thyroid and how to deal with Hashimoto's or different thyroid conditions. So I will do a separate video for that. But first, I wanted to address the things that are very detrimental to your thyroid. And by considering these things that we talked about today and limiting your exposure to these things and any kind of chemicals in general. So your chemicals are super important, what kind of chemicals you're putting on your face, what you're using as cleaning products and things like that. All of those things could have a bad effect on your thyroid. So please keep those in mind as well. And if you wanted to learn more about anti-aging and how to stay healthy, young and fit well into your 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, then please check out my new book, which has over 100 different anti-aging tips and hacks that I've tested and tried myself, and it's based on my almost 30 years of research in the health and beauty industry. So please do check that out below. And guys, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more from me, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the little bell to get notifications every time I post a new video. Thanks so much for watching.